Great day, North Florida. You guys are
Indeed.
here with God Tier Scouting. Cole, after you take a sip, tell me how you're doing today.
I'm doing pretty great. How about yourself?
Doing very well. Week 11 is in the books. If you're wondering, this is real gold. This is platinum.
I don't have any gold on. I just got my beautiful face right here.
So this last week is a pretty slow week, wouldn't you say, for fantasy?
Yeah, I would say so. I think I went about 50-50 in my leagues, so.
Depending on tonight, I could go 3-0, knock on wood. You know, that would be so sick. Actually 5-0 because the Vikings and the Knowles won. That was really cool. But you know, I probably just jinxed it. We'll go and jump into our little introduction. So we had some injuries this week. Chase Edmonds has been placed on IR. I will bring that up later because for a good solid point. Chase Young tore his ACL. Humongous loss. Robert Woods tore his ACL. Considering recent circumstances, not a bad loss, in my opinion. Aaron Jones.
It's a bad loss for me.
Out for 1 to 2 weeks. Okay, fantasy reasons, yeah. Robert Woods is a pretty bad loss. That's a sick receiver. Aaron Jones hurt his knee. I know you'd probably be assuming he'd be out for a long time. Only 1 to 2 weeks is what they're thinking. Cole, what other injuries do we have going on?
Well, we got a couple. Cardinals are looking a little stressful right now. I'm not sure what Kyler Murray's timetable is, but Colt McCoy is out with a pectoral injury. We are waiting for their details. Just like a lot of these injuries that we're talking about today, we don't really have a lot of details on. Baker Mayfield did have a knee contusion. He is expected to play next week, however.
It's so soft.
Anthony Schwartz has an ankle injury, ruled out in the game, but expected to return next week. CeeDee Lamb, arm contusion, exited early. Still waiting on that.
That'll probably be okay.
Yeah. Ricky Seals-Jones has that same hip injury that's been aggravating him. He might have aggravated that. However, we don't know too much about that yet. He did exit the game early, though. And then finally, Dallas Goedert with a head injury. He was ruled out, and we are kind of waiting for their details on that.
That sucks. Do we know if it was like a concussion type deal?
I would assume head injury, but that's pretty non-specific I guess that's for a reason, huh?
Yeah. Alrighty. It's time to jump into our 3 for 4. You guys know what this is. Cole, you want to start us off with the stock rising?
I will start us off with the stock rising. First up, we have my friend here who has been on this list quite a bit, but it is Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes finally playing like himself.
Yes, he is. Thank you.
Finally getting back to form. And with that, he is off my list of stock falling players.
Nice.
Good job, Mahomes. I told you guys it would happen, and boy, did it. 35 completions on 50 attempts, 406 yards, 5 passing touchdowns, no interceptions or sacks. Not a single sack.
Solid.
Pretty impressive.
Oh, I like hearing that.
Yeah. Welcome back to the upper echelon, Mahomes. We all knew you'd be back on top at some point.
And, yeah, Raiders
Finally
can get
back
after the
there.
quarterback, too. So.
Yeah. And then next up today, I have Mr. Cam Newton, and he is back. He is back with the Carolina Panthers. What the hell? It's not like he played a whole ton of the game, but he did get put in towards the end. He did score 2 touchdowns, 1 in the air, 1 on the ground. And that is just incredibly impressive because, I think Superman might be back, which would be awesome for Carolina.
So cool.
Yeah. But I couldn't resist not putting the legend on the list this week.
He's definitely better than Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I would say so. Anyways, we're not going to get into him right now. Mac Jones is my last guy on this list here.
Nice.
Mac Jones certainly didn't look like a rookie dismantling that Cleveland Browns defense on Sunday.
Rape.
19 of 23. Holy shit, that's efficient. For only 198 yards, but 3 touchdowns, no picks.
They're
That
a playoff
is
team.
Awesome. But that's efficient as it gets against what is supposed to be a vaunted defense in the Cleveland Browns. He did dismantle them. And that will complete my top 3 there with stock rising. So I'm going to pass that over to you.
Alrighty. Stock rising. Number 1, Odell Beckham Jr. Point number 1, Matthew Stafford. Point number 2, Robert Woods tearing his ACL. Point number 3, this is about to jumpstart his career again. He's going to be back. He's going to be a top 10 wide receiver. And he's going to be fantastic. And he's going to show it tonight. Y'all are going to see tonight.
Yeah, we'll see this tonight.
He's going to be so damn good. He does get a lot of hate. He does act like a child sometimes, but he still almost broke Randy Moss's record while missing 4 games his rookie year.
Still has Olympians for family.
Yeah, the guy is a monster.
Yeah.
And he needed someone like Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford is going to get him right. Number 2, James Conner, a.k.a. touchdown machine, 12 touchdowns. Last 2 games, he's got a combined 9 targets and over 100 yards, which is decent. But one point I would like to bring up, which I brought up prior, was Chase Edmonds is on the IR, and Kyler Murray has been struggling to get on the field, and James Conner has done nothing but show up and play very high-quality football.
Yes, he has.
So I like Conner a lot, and he has been getting the points he's needed to get. If not a flex, running back 2. He almost can make the argument for running back 1. I'm not going to get too excited yet, but we'll see what happens. Last but not least, Michael Carter is just – I can't wait to draft him next year. This guy is going to be a very, very good football player. Only in 1 game has he had over 77 yards rushing. Like, that was his best game yet. But he's only a rookie. His last 4 games, he's been averaging 8 targets and averaging 60 yards a game. That's receiving, which is very, very awesome. And then with rushing –
dream. That's the dream for running back in PPR.
Oh, I know. And then for rushing, he's been averaging 48 yards in his last 3 games, averaging 15 carries. So we're averaging 15 carries with 8 targets, 60 yards receiving, 48 yards rushing. Dude, this is running back 2 numbers, easy flex numbers. Just like James Conner, debatably a running back 1 in recent games. I am getting excited again. But keep your eye on Michael Carter, dude. On the Jets, he's doing this. Very, very productive. Very, very productive. So we'll switch over to stock falling. Gross. Pass it over to you, Cole.
All right. Number 3 here for my stock falling is actually going to be Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has not been able to put it together in a while. He remains to put up a 100-yard performance this season. He hasn't done it yet.
Damn.
Yeah, and the closest he's come has actually only been 76 yards in a loss against New York in Week 9, so recently. And that's 76 yards. Other than that, I mean, we're looking at 40, 50 yards max, and it's pretty bad. Now, this last game, he rushed 7 times for 16 yards.
Wow.
Yeah,
but they've been throwing it to him a little more, right?
No.
I thought I saw him get a couple.
He didn't get a single reception this game. But he has just not been a viable option to me in fantasy with only 296 yards on the season. 296 yards on the season.
That is no good.
Yeah, he has no receiving touchdowns at all, and he remains a bench stash running back with potential flex appeal if they play a team with a particularly bad run defense. But that is it for Josh Jacobs to me. Number 2 here, I've got Marquise Brown. Marquise Brown has been pissing me. Whoa.
I like that.
He's been angering me lately.
It's not. Go ahead, sorry.
It's just not good. Brown was targeted 13 times yesterday. 13 times. How many did he catch of those? 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so less than half of his targets have been receptions, and he totaled actually 6 receptions for 37 yards, no touchdowns.
Damn.
Dude, he did top 100 the week before against Minnesota, but Brown is such a wild card in fantasy at this point, it's hard to tell. And it's really hard because he has this explosive caliber ceiling, but he has this floor that is just like ground zero. And you don't know what he's going to do. It's like up, down, up, down, up, down. That's just what you get from him.
I want to add another variable in there. I think Lamar has some to blame. PFF dropped a cool statistic today about big-time throws. That was the label, big-time throws. Ryan Tannehill was number 1 for worst completions on big-time throws. Number 2 was Lamar Jackson. So keep that in mind.
Ryan Tannehill, huh?
Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah,
Even though they're pretty dope. So are the Ravens, but Lamar throwing the ball is just a little sus. He can run the ball real well.
Sometimes. I mean, he has like really good performances sometimes, and then he just misses, and it sucks. But Marquise Brown, I mean, we've seen him drop 3 touchdowns in a game this year. I mean, he's having a rough little bit of games here.
He's got to get it together, man.
But not to hold us up too long, I'm going to go ahead and continue. My last guy here is Myles Gaskin, and I don't think this is a surprise to anybody, but I just wanted to point it out.
He sucks.
For the second week in a row, he makes an appearance on this list, and Myles Gaskin rushed 14 times for 31 yards.
He's simply just not that good.
Wow. Now that makes an average yards per carry of 2.2. That's disgusting. No touchdowns on the day and only 1 reception on 2 targets for Gaskin. So Gaskin is most likely worth getting rid of at this point if he's still rostered in your leagues. And that is the end of my 3 with stock falling. I'm going to pass it back to you.
All righty. Stock falling. Number 1, Corey Davis. I like Corey Davis. I think he's a pretty good football player. Only reason I think his stock is dropping, Elijah Moore is starting to come onto the scene, playing high-quality football. Brought him up last week. I think he's a stud. Corey Davis is struggling to stay healthy. That is my second point. Third point, he's on the New York Jets. Number 4, they have not had a consistent quarterback. Zach Wilson's hurt, and then Mike White comes in and balls. He gets hurt. What's the third guy? Something Johnson. He did all right, Johnson. But then Mike White comes back, and then he sucks, and it's just it's a mess. It is a bit of a mess. Corey Davis, I would put him at flex at best right now. I put him at flex this week, and he did all right. He got me like 11 or 12 points. I can't complain, but he's nowhere near number 1, number 2 type receiver. Aaron Jones. These 2 points are very simple. Out for 1 to 2 weeks, and A.J. Dillon has been getting a lot of carries. It's the same thing like Jamal Williams last year. The Packers like using 2 running backs. Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon are very different, obviously, but A.J. Dillon is very effective in the red zone. Last year, Aaron Jones was the red zone back, so keep that in mind. Last guy, Jeremy McNichols. 2 points for this guy as well. First off, without Derrick Henry, the Titans' run game is AIDS. It's just not very good. And even though Jerry McNichols is very young, Adrian Peterson got twice as many carries as him last week. And it just goes to show.
And Adrian Peterson didn't even get the most carries on the team.
No way. Was it Tannehill who got the most carries?
No, it was
we don't even know his name.
Super obscure guy.
Don't even touch Jeremy McNichols. I think he got 1.5 points. So, stock falling. Jeremy McNichols tops the list. Alrighty, so we did stock rising, stock falling. We'll jump into our waiver picks now. Very excited about these picks. I'll start this one off. Ramondre Stevenson on 30% of rosters. The reason I am excited about this pick is because I drafted him very early on out on the roster. Anticipating a lot of hype out of this guy. Very oversized back out of Oklahoma. He was behind a high injury running back in Damian Harris. I was expecting him to get hurt. He never got hurt until now. And now Ramondre has stepped on the field and has been an absolute badass. I'll jump through the stats really quick. I don't want to bore you guys.
Yeah. Let me, it was Deontay Foreman, so we don't seem like we totally don't know what we're talking about, but he got more
with
carries.
The Titans. Okay. Yeah. So the stats I have. So the reason I was high on Ramondre Stevenson, like I said, oversized back out of Oklahoma. He led the preseason with 5 touchdowns. That's pretty cool. He finally got to step in and split reps with Bolden a couple weeks ago when Damian Harris got hurt. 10 rushes, averaged 6.2 yards. So he rushed for 62 yards. 2 catches for 44 yards. This guy's making a lot out of it, making the most out of his opportunity. And he finally got the start, got rushed for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got 4 out of his 5 targets. Best fantasy game for a Pats running back all year. Rookie. The guy's a beast. Yeah. I anticipate he's going to come in and he's going to start being that guy. I really do. I've been high on him since the beginning. He's finally come in. He's exploded. He did what I expected. It just took too damn long. I dropped him. Henson has him now. It sucks. But Ramondre is good. Second guy, Jamal Agnew. Jamal Agnew is getting more and more involved. He's been flashing for the Jaguars, especially since that kick return he had against the Cardinals a while back. Jaguars need hands right now. That's something they are stressing for. Jaguars need receivers, period.
He's even running back. I mean, he had a 66-yard touchdown as a running back.
I'm going to get to that.
Okay.
Last 5 games, he's been averaging 7 targets. And then the last game he had, so the last 4 games, he's averaged a rush. But last game, he had 3 rushes for 80 yards, which makes me think they're going to start feeding him more as well as giving him targets, which is very sick. He might be like a Cordell Patterson-type player. We'll see what happens. I like him in the flex. And out of his last 3 games, he scored 2 touchdowns. So he's playing good ball, and I think the Jaguars are getting more and more excited about him, especially the fans. Last but not least, Panthers. I skipped one thing. Jamal Agnew is on 9.4% of rosters. Panthers defense, 49% of rosters. They're right in the bubble. They probably are not going to be on the waivers in most leagues, but if they are, solid defense. Cam is back. I think Cam is going to keep that offense on the field longer. It's going to make that defense get more rest, more energy. Only 3 games this year that defense has had under 8 points. That's right. I said that correctly. Only 3 games.
Damn.
So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's
if I can get
actually
8
insane.
points out of my defense every week, dude. Whew. I had the Browns defense last week, -6 points. It was basically the other team's best player. That sucked. But yeah, they get solid pressure to the quarterback, and they have a solid secondary. Linebacking core is all right. But yeah, those are my 3 waiver picks. Cole, throwing it over to you.
All right, top 3 waiver wire picks. Okay, so I've started off this list with the most obscure person that I don't think a lot of people are talking about right now, and this is a deep stash kind of guy. If you have a deep league, you have a 12-man league.
Oh, yeah. Dude, you're getting me excited right now.
This is Marcus Johnson.
Marcus Johnson. I have no idea who this is.
He's Tennessee Titans receiver, number 88.
Okay.
And you should know who he is because he hit 100 yards yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he had 5 receptions on 6 targets for 100 yards. And he plays against Houston this weekend with Julio Jones on IR. He is the number 2 receiver in Tennessee.
Nice.
So playing against Houston, you want to stream this guy as a wide receiver, especially if you don't have somebody. If he has somebody projected like 8 points, man, just throw this guy in there because he is going to get targets. He's going to get looks. They're playing against a terrible, terrible, terrible team in Houston. And he's going to have probably another good performance. And if he doesn't, I'm going to look really stupid. But he is only 1% rostered on Yahoo. It actually literally said on Fantasy Pros he was 0% rostered on Yahoo and on ESPN. But that's, of course, not really possible because somebody out there has him on the roster. With that being said, I am going to say that that's probably a good streamer pick if you need that this week, and I'm going to try and keep doing that every week. I'm going to offer 1 streamer in my waiver wire pickups. And then my second guy, Eric already talked about him, but it's Ramondre Stevenson. Again, I just picked him up this morning, actually, and I think I dropped...
You picked him up this morning?
Yeah, I did. He was on waiver. I mean, he wasn't on waivers.
He was just an ad? Dang,
yeah, he was just an ad.
What a steal.
Exactly. But Ramondre Stevenson killed it yesterday. And without going in too much, he filled in the role at running back in the blowout win. And that's all I'm going to say. I mean, 20 rushes for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns and a further 4 receptions and another 14 yards. That is a hell of a game from the rookie, and it looks like he might be able to take over in New England. That being said, we never know what's going on in New England. He could piss off the wrong person and not see the field ever again, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Anyways, that's it for that guy right there. I have Dan Arnold as my last guy.
Solid.
Yeah, Dan Arnold is our leading receiver.
You guys won that trade big time.
Yeah, he is our leading receiver. He is getting... Arnold's targets actually in the last 4 games with the Jaguars add up to 30. 30 targets in 4 games. He's also put up 60-plus receiving yards.
Wait, what?
He has 30 targets in 4 games.
Wow.
Yes.
That's impressive.
Yeah, he's also put up 60-plus receiving yards in 3 out of the last 4. And he's currently our top receiver and one of the safest PPR options at the position.
And Jackson never had a tight end. That's crazy.
And, it's perfect because he's 6'6", he's 240. He's a converted wide receiver. He's huge. He's a huge target, and we've needed that for a long time in Jacksonville. Anyways, I think he's going to be doing great still, and he has guaranteed targets coming his way every game. He is like a safety valve for Trevor Lawrence, and he even makes downfield plays all the time. So that is it for my waiver wire pickups. We're going to move to our top 3 matchups. Eric, would you like to start us off?
Yes. Top 3 matchups, dude. Green Bay versus the Minnesota Vikings. So if you bet on football teams, which this is specifically supposed to be about fantasy, but either way, if you bet on teams, you know that Minnesota tends to cover their bets almost every time or cover the point spread. Last game, it's been obvious that Mr. Mike Zimmer's job has been on the line. Him and Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, their names are trending on Twitter last week because they were on borderline about to get fired. They play very conservative football, and it's very frustrating when you have a very sick-ass roster. So what happened this game, they were going for it on fourth down. They were faking punts. They were doing dope shit. What happened? We went into San Diego and beat the effing is it L.A.? It's L.A. We went to L.A. and beat the effing Chargers, who people consider a pretty good football team. Mm-hmm. Very exciting win. So they gave Packers 2.5 points this week. I think if Mike Zimmer comes in and he puts his schlong on the table, this will be a very, very fun game to watch, and Minnesota will cover again. I can't guarantee they will win, but man, it's going to be a good game if Mike Zimmer can call it like he did. That defense played outstanding. Second game, Eagles versus Saints. I like the Eagles a lot here. Eagles are just borderline about to be a good team. They're still trying to find their identity. Saints are a good team. They just don't have a quarterback yet. Yeah, I think Jalen Hurts is kind of legit. They just got to get a groove going. They're 2-3 in their last 3 games. They haven't beat like a really good team yet, but they've been in some serious swing matches with some good teams. So we'll see what happens. They gave the Eagles 1.5, and I love that bet. I really do. Last but not least, Cardinals versus Seahawks. We got an NFC West showdown. They gave Cardinals 2 points. We're still trying to see what's going on with Kyler Murray. We know that Colt McCoy is a pectoral injury. We know that Edmonds is on the IR. There's a lot of bullshit going on there right now. Seattle also looked like shit too, though. So I'm hoping Seattle just, pulls their pants up and starts playing some big boy football and, smacks the Cardinals around, and it can be a really intense game. But this seriously could be a blowout, and the Cardinals just mercy the Seahawks. But I've been watching Russell Wilson for the last decade, and I expect him to show up and play some good football. So we're going to go through it real quick. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to take Green Bay over Minnesota. I'm going to take the Eagles over the Saints, and I'm going to take the Cardinals in a very close game against the Seahawks. Cole, take it away.
All right. I've got Las Vegas Raiders, my first one, versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Raiders have had a terribly unlucky season, but they still sit at 5-4.
That's so sad.
They still sit at 5-4 alongside the Bengals. Now, both teams have shown huge potential early in the year, only to stall out in the last few games, unfortunately. However, for the Raiders, that is certainly understandable, but the Bengals should be playing better. They absolutely should be playing better. And we will see who bounces back in this game, because that's why this is a matchup that I like. These are two teams who had amazing potential to start the year off, and they need to see who out of the two of them is going to bounce back and take this season back under reins. I'm going to take the Bengals here.
Nice. I like it.
I mean, the Raiders.
I take the Bengals too.
The Raiders are doing so good for the amount of things that have
adversity.
Happened. Yeah, it's insane this
year.
It is
insane.
But yeah, so I'll take the Bengals there. Pittsburgh Steelers versus Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles is coming off of a loss to the Vikings. Shout out to Eric. But they look to bounce back against a team that played and tied
Detroit.
The Lions. Come on, Pittsburgh. Really? The Lions. The Lions look like they're going to have the Cleveland Browns season from a few years ago where they went winless and they got a tie. And that's just unfortunate.
Don't get it wrong, though. Ben Roethlisberger wasn't playing, and Mason Rudolph is like a trash can with an arm. He's very bad.
Yeah, but it's the Lions.
I like Jared Goff more than Mason Rudolph.
It's the Lions.
I like Dan Campbell. It's hard for me to hate.
I like him too, but dude, they haven't won for a reason. Okay. Obviously,
no team's gonna go 0-17. That's exciting.
They could go 0-16-1.
Yeah, they can. Very, very possible.
That's kind of nuts. Anyways, I'll take Pittsburgh in that. I mean, I will take Pittsburgh.
The Chargers.
Fucking Chargers, dude.
Nice.
You got me so mixed up.
Sorry.
I thought I was talking about the Detroit Lions for some reason. Definitely wouldn't be on the top 3 matchups. Especially last week, I would not have put that on there because I definitely didn't expect them to tie, but whatever. Anyways, my last one is Kansas City versus Dallas, and Patrick Mahomes just came back to form in a major way. So Mahomes throwing for 35 completions on 50 attempts, 406 yards, 5 touchdowns. I said it earlier. No interceptions, no sacks, and not even a rushing attempt. He didn't even have to try and run the freaking ball. He was so efficient with passing.
Kelsey and Barik.
Dude,
Holt
hell
Hardman
of a game,
balled.
man.
Darrell Williams balled.
I will say, if you played against any Kansas City Chief offensive player, I'm praying for you today.
Sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. Anyways, what a game. Mahomes, now let's see if you can fare well against an impressive Cowboys team who blew out the Falcons 43-3 on Sunday.
Falcons suck.
Yeah, Dak comes off an impressive 24 of 31 attempts for 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, no sacks, and a rushing touchdown. So both quarterbacks looked impressive in Week 10, and Mahomes looked very dangerous once again. And that is it. But I do have a Monday Night Football prediction, if you'd like to hear that.
Yeah, you go first. I'll do mine.
Okay. All right, so I've got we got LA Rams versus San Francisco 49ers tonight, and it's the debut of OBJ in LA. And the Rams are going to take on the 49ers in one of my top matchups from the video a week ago. The Rams, Von Miller is questionable at the moment, and there is no Robert Woods for the remainder of the season. Now, their injury report compared to the 49ers is minuscule because if you look at the 49ers, they have 7 players on their IR coming into this week, and they've already ruled out Mohamed Sanu, Tavon Wilson, Drake Kirkpatrick, and Jimmy Ward. Josh Norman and Arden Key are questionable. Now, that's 4 defensive backs. 4 defensive backs possibly out tonight. Wow. Expect a huge game from Matthew Stafford and possibly from OBJ because he will be involved tonight, and that's going to be fun to watch. But my prediction here, I have the Rams winning 27-21, and again, that's using that GTS ranking system. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm going to let you go ahead now.
I got a feeling that the Rams are going to suffocate the Niners. They're going to put their schlong on the table and show this beautiful luxury item they just purchased. And he's going to have a phenomenal day. I'm seriously thinking like at least 7 targets, a touchdown.
How many yards?
I'm going to say minimum 50 yards and a touchdown. He's going to play lights out, and I think they're going to be trying. I mean, Cooper Kupp's on the opposite side of the field. They have to worry about Darrell Henderson. McVay's going to do what McVay wants. This is a coach who might win Coach of the Year. I expect the Niners to get suffocated tonight, like literally choked out.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. I have no idea. But
true.
Thank you for tuning in to God Tier Scouting. Week 11's in the books. We are approaching Week 12 with a smile on our face. Playoffs are around the corner.
Now let's watch some football, and great day in North Florida.